Hi, I'm Eric.
And I'm Dick. We're the Annuity guys.
Dick, high annuity rates or high annuity ratings?
Boy, Eric, that is a common challenge that everyone seems to have. Is they always call in, and a lot of times they're kind of like, "Look, I only want to work with a very high-rated company.
Only the best."
Now, who can give us the best rates?
That's right. So it's that balance, is what you're saying. But everybody wants their cake and eat it too. They want that A+ rated company.
Or plus.
Plus, depending on the rating service. And they want the best rate. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work.
They usually don't go together, and there's so many factors that come into that when you're looking for ratings and you're concerned about that. First of all, you have to look at what type of ratings these companies have.
Which rating service?
Rating service, yes.
So we always laugh because it's like, all right, we use AM Best typically here, but you have AM Best, Standard & Poor's, Moody's, Fitch's, Weiss, and then there's this Comdex, which kind of takes all of them.
Adds them all, and
which one do you use?
Well, I like to use them all. I mean, it's good to look at them all and see if there's one that's a standout that has someone rated really better or worse, and then figure out why. And then also, we favor the AM Best.
We like AM Best.
And folks, the reason we like AM Best is because they've been around for 100 years. They focus on, well over 100, but they focus on the insurance industry.
Right.
And there's a lot of consistency and very deep reporting in there. And we just haven't seen them, this is just personal opinion, but we haven't seen them go astray. And you've seen so many companies through the financial crisis, that have had challenges.
Right.
And amazingly, they don't vary too much as a rule. The weaker companies maybe, but not the stronger companies.
Right. These changes in ratings are more of a glacial shift as they kind of move. They don't usually move from A to C like overnight.
Right.
It's more like if they'll move from an A to an A- or an A+, move up one category.
Right. Well, they'll have a negative outlook from an A+, a negative outlook. And
it's the warning shot across the bow. It might be in trouble coming. But.
And then they'll have a stable, and they'll have a positive outlook. And this takes years. And that's what Eric and I folks love about annuities in general and about ratings companies. It's not like you wake up in the morning and you see the market dropped.
All of a sudden your company went from an A to a D and you're in trouble. No, it's not that bad. Now, is it tough to compare kind of what an A means to one rating agency to another?
That's really tough, Eric. That's pretty deceiving. There's so many different ways they
and what
use
they
their
say
rating symbols,
and how they
pluses and minuses and double A's and triple A's. So it helps to have someone help you decipher that a little bit sometimes.
Exactly. I mean, just in comparison, AM Best has 15 categories. Standard & Poor has 20.
Mm-hmm.
Moody's has 21. Fitch's has 21, and Weiss has 16. And can you guess that good on one ends at 6 and good at another one ends at 10? So how high or how low they're rated just to be a good company can fluctuate based off the description.
If we just look at, say, AM Best to talk about one of them, I mean, they've got like 16 ratings to get up to their A++. And folks, just to get to a B rating is really, really tough for a company. So, I mean, you're talking about years and years and years, very strong financials, good track record. So when we start saying we don't want to work with anything less than an A, that's some pretty strong stuff.
You're working with an excellent company.
Right.
I mean, if you're even an A- on AM Best is considered a excellent company. And so when you're looking at that and trying to balance out then rates or ratings, do you want something that's good or do you insist on something that's excellent? With your retirement, my retirement, most of the time I want something that's excellent. However, if I have to accept good in order to meet my objectives, then that's part of the balance.
Or very good.
Right.
So what we're saying here is that amazingly, some of the A++ companies that you would think have the financial strength that would be giving the most competitive type rates. Not to say they're not fair.
They're keeping the money for themselves.
Yeah, they're not being generous with you. So some of the companies that are also extremely strong, but maybe not that pinnacle,
Right.
They're much more competitive and willing to be generous with their clients and give better.
Well, sometimes
better rates.
they're giving better benefits and at that expense of not holding back as much for themselves.
And they're more innovative with their
Yeah.
products. They come out with products that meet the need better. So folks, it truly is a balance of choosing between those rates and ratings.
And what we like to do is really present to you exactly why we're presenting a company if they're not the highest rated, giving you that balance and saying, hey, this is the you're giving up this safety and stability, or not really giving up, but you're taking a lower rated company in exchange for a superior rate typically. And then balancing out and saying, first, the key thing is, does it meet your objectives for your retirement?
If it doesn't meet your retirement objectives, it's not even, it doesn't matter whether it's high rates or whether it's high ratings.
It has to meet your needs.
Now, Eric, we have people a lot of times say to us, well, what difference does it make? There's a guarantee association. I'll only put so much in, and that state guarantee association is going to cover what I've got in the annuity.
Well, and obviously, if your agent's talking to you about the guarantee association, there might be a problem to begin with. Now, but the guarantee, what happens if a company goes defunct is really what's...
Yeah, they go into receivership.
So all of a sudden, you hope the state comes in. Usually what happens is another insurance company comes in and starts to deal with the obligations of that company.
Their assets are moved over to a more successful, profitable company. But there can be some landmines in there because, folks, your money can be tied up for a reasonable length of time or a good length of time before you can actually get access to it again, even though you will eventually get access. And there's been virtually no money lost in annuities over the years.
But we should point out that it's the cash side that's usually returned to you. You may have bought an annuity for the benefits or the riders. Well, that may not be part of what's continued on with the new company.
The new company may not have to guarantee the guarantees that you set up originally for your retirement. That was the purpose of the annuity, is to have these contractual guarantees throughout your retirement, and the new company is only obligated to guarantee your cash.
So we don't want to sound alarmist, but we want you to take into consideration all the aspects when looking at rates and ratings and be comfortable with deciding good, excellent, or not so good.
Yes, and just to understand that probably the safest, one of the very safest places in the entire world to put money is in annuities. They have a wonderful track record, but understanding which annuities to put the money in is probably the important factor.
Just in summary, we don't want you to gamble with your retirement.